Hey, well, it's great to be here with Carole Harding. Great to see you, Carole.
Hi.
And thanks for agreeing to be interviewed. It's lovely to just to talk to different people during this
Mhm.
time and
Yeah.
find out what people are doing. And I know you've been busy, but first, before we get into the questions, how are you and how is your family?
Oh, well, I'm well, and my family are all well too. Um, just as lockdown started, we had Josh was already living back at home, and Ethan travelled to London on the Monday morning, but was sent back Monday night. And although he just completed on a house purchase, he stayed living with us, and I think that's worked really well. I would say 98% of the time. Um, we've not killed each other yet. We've not fallen out. Um, Sometimes we seem to need to take ourselves off a little bit and find space, but that's what we've been doing. Ethan's working really, really hard. So he's working in the dining room, diagonally opposite to me, and he's under quite a lot of pressure, even though he's working from home. And so I try to make it a priority each day that at the end of his working day, he and I go for a walk, just to sort of give him a chance to offload. I think he's probably the most pressured out of all of us. Mike's furloughed, and Joshua was part way through his tree surgeon course, but that got halted, so he's going to start that again as soon as possible. But we're all really well, actually, and my wider family are too. So that's
Brilliant.
good.
Brilliant. And I know you've been super busy, really, with all sorts of things. One of the things I know you've been doing is helping out with Hope Central. And
Yeah.
tell us a bit about that. What have you been doing? What have you been seeing?
Well, I do like to be busy, so although I have to work from home and work online in the mornings, I found that my afternoons had more free time, so I offered to help um, down at St Chad's Hall. So I go there probably 3 afternoons roughly a week, depending on how much I'm needed. And I get there and we get a list of people who we need to pack hampers for, and then we just get busy. We pack lots and lots of bags. Somebody comes to collect them. Julie Collingwood usually does that. Load up the car, straighten out the shop front, so to speak. Um, when Anne Dawson's been to Fair Share, we have all that food to pack away in fridges and freezers and back on the shelves again. But there's a real sense of camaraderie there, which is lovely, and it's just nice doing something that you feel is really purposeful, something that provides practical help for people. And the other thing that I really like is every time we pack a hamper, Robert Lartman's produced a letter and a note to go in it, so that people know why Hope Central exists and what we're there for and what we believe and what we want to share with them.
Yeah.
So that's really good, and I like that. And then just recently I've put a red bin outside on my driveway, posted it on a few different Facebook groups in Alderley Edge, and people have started bringing things, which is great. So I've had quite a lot this week, which is good.
Excellent. That's really good to hear. And it's obviously meeting a very important need, and it's obviously really pretty busy and continues to be. So thanks so much for helping with that. But you referred to working in the morning as a teacher, working
Yeah.
from home. We've heard on the news that schools are going to start taking students back pretty soon, beginning some next week. But what about your school, and what are you doing? What's happening?
Well, since we went to partial closure, I have been on rota to go into school to work with key worker children. So I've done that for 5 days in the last however many weeks it's been. That's quite strange because they're actually quite little children, and I'm not used to teaching those little children. But it's been a real pleasure because the children are delightful, and that's been a lovely thing to do. The rest of the time, in the mornings, I'm usually online, setting work for children in my class, answering their queries and comments. Another aspect of my job is because, as well as class teaching, I have other responsibilities that are of a more pastoral nature. Making phone calls to families, checking that they're okay, checking that there's nothing that we can be supporting them with that we don't already know about. We've got a couple of children in school who, whatever happens to do with school returning, they won't be able to do because of their medical conditions. So just checking that those families are okay has been really important, and I've loved having that contact. And then as part of my role for looking after children with special educational needs, I've been catching up on all sorts of paperwork that I've not had always time to do when I've been full on in school. So keeping really busy. This week it's now about writing annual reports for children. It's really made me realise how much I miss my class. So as I'm writing reports about them, I'm picturing their faces and just thinking, oh, I miss that child, or wanting to be in touch more than we're able to be in touch, but we're not unique in that situation.
But you're preparing to actually go back. How's that going to work?
So on the 8th and 9th of June, we've got staff training in school, so that everybody knows what's expected of them in terms of keeping children safe, making sure everywhere's clean, how we're going to teach, because it's going to be very, very different.
In what way? How are you going to teach?
So I will have a group of up to 15 children from year 6. So they're not my own class because I teach year 5, but they are the children I taught last year, so I do know them really well. We're going to have a real focus to begin with on giving the children time to explore their emotions and their feelings following on from the time that we've been out of school, because we don't really know what's been going on in those families. We have an inkling, but some children will have had very different experiences to the person that they end up sat next to. So it's about giving them time really to talk, to play together, although in a safe, socially distanced way. So we've been making lists of lots of games you can play outside where you don't actually have to have contact.
So they were mixing with other children. They'll be in their 15, will they?
They'll be in their 15. They'll come in the morning. They'll work with. I'll be teaching them. There'll be a teaching assistant with me, and we will stay as a group. Somebody's coined the phrase bubble, so we're going to stay as that bubble all week, all day. We eat lunch together. We don't mix with any of the other bubbles at all. The classrooms have had to be emptied, so there are just desks and chairs and nothing else. There's still the technology like a computer for the teacher to use and a whiteboard at the front. And that's happened throughout school. All the classrooms have been emptied in that way, even down to reception and nursery. All the toys have gone and things like that. And I've seen a lot of things on Twitter and places like that this week of people saying I've had to go and do my classroom and it's made me really sad, and people have been very upset by the rooms they've left behind, because I think a teacher's room is very much a reflection of themselves. But this week I was thinking about last summer we were lucky enough to go to Kenya, and we saw some schools there. And in actual fact, those schools, they often don't even have the tables and chairs. They might have a roof and they'll have a teacher. And it really has made me think about what makes a school. And actually, it's the children that make a school. So although it's all very pared back and it looks really, really different, it still will be a school.
Yeah.
And, my job is going to be to make sure that those children have the very best end of year 6 that they can possibly have.
Yeah, it's going to be strange for children in those transition years, isn't it? Yeah. It's wonderful to chat to you, Carole. Our time is running out, but today's Pentecost Sunday. How's the Holy Spirit made a difference in your life over the last few years?
Well, I'd like to think it really has. We were looking last night in the book of, I think it was 1 Samuel. I'm not sure, I can't quite remember. But it talked about that when you receive the Holy Spirit, you become a very changed person. And I believe that although I grew up and I never ever doubted the existence of God, and I believed in Jesus as the Son of God. I became a Christian when I was 12. The Holy Spirit side of things came along much later in life. And I believe that when you ask the Holy Spirit to come into your life, he's there, and he's there for all sorts of things. And we read that he can be a comforter and an advocate and an encourager and a helper. And I feel for me that especially in the last this time of lockdown, there have been times when I have felt quite sad, once or twice, probably a reflection on what's been going on around me. But the other Saturday morning, I definitely felt that, and I just took myself away and had a much more of an extended quiet time, and I just knew that I needed to spend time talking to God, asking the Holy Spirit to be my comforter, my helper. And I used the Lectio 365, and it was really apt on that particular day, which was good. And so the Holy Spirit is who I turn to when I need that comfort in particular. And I don't know, because I think it has changed me over the last few years. I think I can feel a difference, and I think other people can see a difference too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Carole. We'll continue to pray for you and your family, but particularly if you go back into school in the next week or two, we'll be thinking of you and praying for you. Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much
everyone.
for spending some time with us, and God bless.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.